of it. And meanwhile, you got George Soros running around spending $33 million to cause basically anti-police riots around the country to destabilize the nation so Obama can pose as a savior and come in and federalize police, which they're now announcing. We predicted this. So what's the next shoe to drop? They're power-grabbing everything, the internet, the borders, the police. Joel Gilbert, what do you think's going on? You're a big Obama expert. You've traveled the world to track this guy. What do you think's going on, Joel Gilbert?
Well, I think there's an actual roadmap that Obama is following from his mentor, Bill Ayers, and of course Bernardine Dohrn in the Weather Underground from the late 60s. They wrote a document called Prairie Fire. And the essence of that was using a line from Mao Zedong, which was a single spark can start a prairie fire, meaning one incident, one agitation can start an entire revolution. And you see Obama agitating prairie fires, such as he did in Ferguson, the Trayvon Martin case. He tried on the guns up in Newton, Massachusetts. He's always agitating. He's a professional agitator. He was trained as an agitator in Chicago at the Midwest Academy. He was a trainer for Acorn. And I think he had no interest ever in becoming president of the United States or in being president. His only interest was using the pulpit of the presidency to agitate the country and divide and polarize the nation. It is only about 50 years ago now that, 45 years ago, that Bernardine Dohrn and the Weather Underground declared war on the United States. And I think when you look at Obama's policies the last few years, his agenda for the next 2 years, I think it is open warfare against the United States to degrade and harm and eliminate the foundations of the Constitution.
You're right, and it's like it's some type of weird Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where they're caught in a time loop because they're using an old Soviet playbook to bring down the U.S. and Israel and Western Europe long after all that collapsed. These are crazy people. I mean, they're in control right now, and they're trying to shut off the industrial base and start a civil war. These people are mentally ill.
Well, the way they accomplished it is based on a learning curve. Bill Ayers and Obama's mentors in the Weather Underground would look people in the eye in the late 60s, and they would say, we want to destroy you. We want to bring down America, replace the Constitution with a communist manifesto. We want to send 50 million of you to re-education centers and murder 25 million of you.
And have the UN basically occupy the U.S. with international forces.
Correct. They wanted to occupy the United States with Soviet, Chinese, North Korean, and North Vietnamese forces. Nobody followed them because it turned people off because it was so evil. They ended up going to jail for murdering policemen. They went into the underground for 10, 15 years. When they emerged from the underground in the early 80s in Chicago and became Barack Obama's mentors, they taught him the lesson. The lesson was, instead of looking people in the eye and saying, we want to murder you, look at them in the eye and say, we want fairness. We want to help you.
And by the way, I had Bill Ayers on about a month ago, and he literally said he wasn't a communist, said I was making it up, said none of this ever happened. And so they're now in that mode of acting passive, acting friendly, acting non-threatening. Right. And I could tell he was reading off a script.
Right. What they do is they change the terminology. Instead of we want to murder you, the terminology is folks and families. But the agenda is exactly the same. It's to use the support of people for helping them to, in fact, destroy them. And we've seen over the last 30 years, the Democrat Party has been taken over by these radical Marxists out of Chicago. And today the Democrat Party is a radical socialist party. And in my film, Dreams from My Real Father, which you mentioned was back in the news with Rudy Giuliani, mentioning that Obama's mentor was the Communist Party USA propagandist Frank Marshall Davis. Of course, in my film, which is in your store still, Dreams from My Real Father, I think I present a mountain of evidence that Obama's real biological father, who became his ideological mentor, was in fact the Soviet agent Frank Marshall Davis, who indoctrinated him into this radical ideology in his entire youth. And today we're seeing unfortunately, the end game of a radical in office.
You know, when I heard all this 6, 7 years ago, I didn't believe it, but there's no way it's not true, and the evidence is overwhelming. We are in so much trouble. And what are the elite thinking doing something this crazy and reckless? Well, why did Nero marry his horse? Why did, or was it Caligula married his horse? I guess Nero did stuff even worse. And these people are just insane, out of their minds, but they have a will to power, so they're taking over. Joel Gilbert's our guest. Stay with us.
I'm really glad my buddy Mark turned me on to guns80.com. I got to tell you, I didn't want to buy any more firearms. I didn't want a paperwork trail headed back to Big Brother. I want 100% privacy. I want to be an invisible gun owner. Hello? So Mark says, hey, you know, guns80.com, Ghost AR-15. Ghost means invisible. Get it? Ghost AR-15. Guns80.com. I got a couple, if you know what I mean. Go to guns80.com or call 844-2GUNS80.
I am a 47-year-old female and had a heart attack in 2005. This is Alice from New Jersey. I still get angina, even with 4 stents. I was taking nitro 2 or 3 times a week. The very first day after taking Heart and Body Extract, the chest pain was gone. Now I don't wear a nitro patch.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
As the New World Order continues to tighten its grip on every facet of our lives, we're all asking ourselves, how can we maintain our independence? The answer is clear. Get prepared, and you get prepared now. Now the only question left is, where do we begin? My Patriot Supply is here to help. Call 800-247-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. We're even covering the cost of shipping. Are you willing to rely on the government and FEMA in the event of an emergency? Call 800-274-3070 to get started with your 72-hour emergency food supply for only $10. You won't be able to find this deal online, and there is a strict limit of 4 per caller, so don't wait. Call now, 800-274-3070. That's 800-274-3070. Call right now.
Usually, the older one gets, the less you are able to absorb amino acids and the less you are able to repair the 100 trillion cells of your body. As a result, you'll have less energy, your tissues will shrink, and you'll become wrinkled. An older person will typically injure more easily and heal more slowly. Not fun. However, if you could consume a protein powder that is easier to absorb, then you may be able to gain back some strength, muscle, and speed of recovery. One World Whey is a highly digestible whey protein powder that may be the perfect answer for you.
My name is Errol. I'm 74 years old. You know, the taste of One World Whey is amazing. I play pickleball, and since taking One World Whey and your trace mineral supplement, I have more energy and recover faster from my working out. I used to take another grass-fed whey protein powder, but now I'm getting much better results using One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're here live. It's really a different type of talk radio. We pioneered simulcasting television, not just a webcam. We neurotically show video clips, news articles, legislation, documents to back up our claims. We have a wide spectrum of guests on who don't even ideologically agree with each other 90% or 80%, but who genuinely want freedom and have shown they're experts in their field to have a real discussion, a real debate to try to understand what's happening. And if you look at how the Democratic Party especially attacks families, attacks anybody who's good, tries to deindustrialize the country, They really want us on our knees so they can then dictate the terms of our surrender. And they just hate this country because we were a Christian nation. We were a free market nation. If they bring us down, they have the whole world. The problem is most of their supporters are good people who are manipulated and don't know what they're part of. We're talking to Joel Gilbert, the maker of There's No Place Like Utopia, an excellent film available at InfoWarsStore.com. And I know you, the listeners, know most of this stuff, or more than I do in some cases. You need to show it to friends and family. You need to have your church show it. You need to really fight the collectivism that's unfolding. JoelGilbert.net's his website. It's excellent. Joel, continue in the short segment, long segment coming up, and then we'll go to some calls. Understanding the power grab we're seeing, what do you think from your expert research the agenda is in the next 2 years?
We've seen this game plan play out. It's not a new agenda. It's the same old story where a radical leftist Marxist group takes over a legitimate political party like the Democrat Party, tricks the party itself into thinking that they're mainstream. Obama told the country he's going to cut the deficit in half. Obamacare is not a tax. He'll obey the Constitution. It was a mainstream candidate with an agenda that he never intended to implement. That's why in my film, There's No Place Like Utopia, I compare Obama to the Wizard of Oz because he was a charlatan from the get-go. And his intentions were never good. When Dorothy gets to the Emerald City, the Wizard of Oz sends her to the witch's castle. She's taken prisoner in the dungeon. And that's what's happened in all the progressive cities throughout America that I traveled to in the film: Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Newark. People are literally living in these witches' castles, the dungeons of progressivism, where they have 50% unemployment, drug cultures, no fathers, no business. They've brought this devastation upon America through these progressive policies, and they only succeeded because they manipulated and fooled not only their own party, but the American people into supporting them and giving them power. Once they're in power, they use the tools of state, like the IRS, the control of information. Unemployment is only 5%.
Well, that's what I've found whenever I've been around socialists and communists at events over the decades. I've been around a lot of them at all sorts of behind-the-scenes Democratic conventions. They're really like criminal bank robber types, like felon types I've been around before that are really creepy and have bad will towards people. And behind the scenes, they'll go, listen, when we take over, we're going to kill everybody. We want blood. They really are demonic villains. But then in the service, it's like, I'm liberal. Oh. I mean, they are just so sick.
Right. They've the entire program of progressivism is based on disinformation. And that's what the Democrat Party and the White House engages in today. I said the unemployment is 5%. There's voter suppression, a completely made-up story. On and on. The entire agenda is based on a manipulation and providing false information. It's disinformatia, Soviet-era propaganda coming out of the White House. And you'll see the Democrat candidate, whoever it's going to be in 2016, is going to say that we have racial inequality and income inequality. And there's a few fortunate people who are controlling all the economy, and that's why everyone else has to rise up and support the Democrat Party. So it's a type of mafia. It always has been. And they simply use the benefits of the state to enrich themselves while creating one large lower class. Socialist economies don't have a middle class. They have an impoverished society with political elites who control the wealth.
They're very medieval.
I would say so. They're a, it's a group of people that want to control others, and to be willing to lie and lie about everything. It just shows you the evil nature of those who would lie to take power and then use the tools to suppress everybody else. It's a very evil plan, and we're seeing it.
Sure.
Not in 1940s, 1950s China with Mao sending 50 million people to being starved to death in collective farms, or the Soviet gulags. We're seeing the disinformation in modern America.
We're seeing it incrementally just deindustrialize the country. And again, then we have the Republican leadership, a bunch of blue blood fascists who side with the Democrats. I want to talk about that when you come back. Talk about the film, get into any other subjects you want to cover, and then take phone calls. from a lot of different listeners. Joel Gilbert's our guest. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. Stay with us.
We're on the march.